Two major defense companies are in a battle for the future of Canada's fighter jet fleet.
There needs to be more jobs created out of the F-35 contract. That's clear to me and clear to this government.
Those words are all there in describing exactly how the F-35, an international plane that Canada bought in from the beginning.
When a Swedish royal motorcade rolled through Ottawa in late 2025, most people saw ceremony, flags, salutes, smiles for cameras. But Washington saw something else. It saw competition, because this wasn't just a diplomatic visit, it was a strategic pitch, one that could rip open a $33 billion defense decision and reshape how Canada defines sovereignty inside North America's security system. At the center of the storm is a fighter jet. Actually, two of them. On one side, the American-built F-35, the stealth flagship of Western air power, already selected by Canada in 2022 in a deal originally valued at 19 billion Canadian dollars for 88 aircraft. On the other, Sweden's Gripen E, lighter, cheaper, more flexible, now being pitched not just as an aircraft, but as an industrial revolution for Canadian aerospace. And the numbers are no longer small. By mid-2025, Canada's Auditor General reported the F-35 acquisition cost had surged to 27.7 billion Canadian dollars. Add infrastructure, sustainment, weapons integration, and lifecycle expenses, and projections pushed near 33 billion. A program introduced at 19 billion had ballooned toward a 75% increase. Cost overruns happen in defense procurement, but this time the escalation collided with something far more political. In September 2025, U.S. oversight bodies revealed that the F-35's Block 4 upgrade package, the configuration Canada ordered, was running billions over budget and years behind schedule. Full operational capability for Canada may not arrive until 2032 to 2034. That means a decade-long transition window. A decade where legacy fighters continue flying while waiting for software maturity and integration. But here's where the debate turns deeper. The F-35 doesn't just fly, it connects. It operates within a centralized global logistics and mission data network controlled by Lockheed Martin. Maintenance diagnostics, updates, and operational data flow through U.S. managed systems. Supporters say this guarantees seamless NATO interoperability. Critics say it creates structural dependency, because when your frontline fighter relies on foreign-controlled digital architecture for full functionality, sovereignty becomes layered. Then, March 2025 changed the tone. Mark Carney entered office and ordered a review of the F-35 procurement amid escalating trade tensions with Washington under Donald Trump. Canada had committed to 16 aircraft. The remaining 72 were still in pipeline structure. The door wasn't slammed shut, but it was unlocked. Sweden walked through it. Saab returned with a re-engineered pitch for the Gripen E. And this time, it wasn't just about aircraft specs. It was about domestic assembly. Build the jets in Canada, partner with Bombardier, transfer technology, create up to 10,000 high-skilled jobs, manufacture, upgrade, and sustain the fleet on Canadian soil. That changes the math, because this becomes less about buying jets and more about building industry. Gripen and F-35 represent different philosophies. The F-35 is fifth-generation stealth dominance, sensor fusion, low observability, deep integration into multinational networks. The Gripen E is 4.5 generation, agile, cost-controlled, designed for dispersed operations. It can operate from shorter runways and even reinforced highways, a design concept rooted in Sweden's Cold War survival strategy. For Canada's Arctic geography and remote northern bases, that flexibility matters. Then Ukraine entered the equation. In late 2025, Sweden signed a letter of intent that could see Ukraine purchase up to 150 Gripen E fighters. Sweden acknowledged it lacks the production scale to meet such demand alone. A partner manufacturing hub would be essential. Canada suddenly looked like the perfect candidate. A Gripen production line in Canada could serve both domestic needs and Ukrainian defense, linking Canadian aerospace directly to European security reconstruction. Washington noticed. The U.S. ambassador to Canada publicly warned that abandoning the full F-35 purchase could affect NORAD cooperation, the Joint Air Defense Command linking the two countries since 1957. He suggested interoperability could suffer, that the U.S. might need to increase patrols in Canadian airspace. The message was clear. Choose carefully, but the reaction in Ottawa was equally sharp. Former Canadian national security officials described the comments as political pressure rather than formal Pentagon doctrine. And this is where the debate shifts from aircraft to autonomy. Because when procurement decisions trigger public warnings tied to continental defense frameworks, the line between alliance partnership and leverage politics becomes blurred. Public opinion complicates it further. Late 2025 polling suggested a strong majority of Canadians favored bringing Gripen into the Royal Canadian Air Force either fully or as a mixed fleet, while only a small minority supported proceeding with the F-35 unchanged. National security is not a popularity contest, but governments cannot ignore voter sentiment when billions are at stake. Meanwhile, similar procurement debates have unfolded globally. Colombia joined Brazil in choosing Gripen. Hungary and the Czech Republic explored diversification. Denmark's own parliamentary defense leadership publicly questioned their F-35 commitment. Middle powers are reassessing, because the geopolitical environment is shifting faster than traditional alliance structures were built to handle. And while this fighter debate unfolds, something else happened that added another layer to Canada's positioning. China announced suspension of several agricultural tariffs on Canadian exports, including 100% duties on canola meal and peas and 25% tariffs on lobster and crab through the end of 2026. This followed Carney's visit to Beijing aimed at stabilizing trade ties. Canola seed tariffs remain under review, but Chinese buyers have reportedly begun booking March cargoes in anticipation of reduced barriers. This matters, because China ranked as Canada's second-largest canola market in 2024. Trade diversification is no longer theoretical. It's active. Carney signaled openness to allowing up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into Canada under a favorable tariff rate, another sign of recalibration. This isn't anti-American positioning. It's multi-vector positioning. And that context feeds back into the jet debate. Choosing Gripen would symbolize deeper industrial autonomy and expanded European alignment. Staying with the F-35 would reinforce integration inside US-led defense architecture. Neither option is simple. The F-35 preserves maximum NORAD and NATO standardization. The Gripen offers domestic manufacturing, industrial leverage, and potentially greater operational independence. One strengthens integration. The other strengthens diversification. The real question is not which aircraft flies better. It's how Canada defines strategic identity in an era where trade, defense, and digital systems are intertwined. Does Ottawa accept higher long-term cost and digital dependency in exchange for seamless U.S. integration? Or does it accept potential alliance friction in exchange for domestic control and industrial expansion? There is no frictionless path, only trade-offs, and other middle powers are watching closely. Because if a G7 nation rebalances procurement toward industrial autonomy, it signals that diversification inside alliances is possible. If Canada stays locked into the F-35 ecosystem despite cost overruns and public skepticism, it reinforces the gravitational pull of US-centered defense architecture. This decision is about more than jets. It's about who controls supply chains, who controls software updates, who controls maintenance pipelines, and who controls the future of national defense strategy. The Swedish motorcade may have lasted days, but the strategic ripple will last decades. So now the pressure builds. Will Ottawa deepen integration or expand independence? Will industrial ambition outweigh interoperability certainty? And when sovereignty, cost, alliance obligations, and public opinion collide, which principle wins? Drop your thoughts below. Because this isn't just Canada's decision. It's a preview of how middle powers navigate superpower gravity in a rapidly shifting world.